Alright, so, like I said, I've read a lot of books since I haven't been on here because books are my thing and just kind of my little repeat. Actually, when I'm done doing these videos, I'm going to curl up on the depth perception, not there, that recliner, and finish reading the book I'm currently reading. Not gonna lie, I'm actually rereading Twilight because I am hyped. Teenage me is hyped for Midnight Sun to come out. Like, I've always loved Twilight, but this is not a Twilight book review. So, this is Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill. So I read this book because there's a little bookshop where I live called Loyalty Books. Super expensive, but they have like these little odd and ends books that like you wouldn't assume to grab like off a shelf or something. Like just walking in, like you wouldn't think about grabbing it. To know more about me, because I'm gonna probably post a lot of these books I read, is I am pagan, I am a witch, and I love mythology. Even though it's not the pantheon I personally follow, which I don't want to get into for personal reasons, but just know that I still love learning about mythology. No matter the pantheon, it could be Norse, it could be Greek, it could be Egyptian, and I love learning how the gods became, not how the gods became gods, because a lot of gods are born gods, but like their stories, for instance. So this one actually made me cry because it's the way Nikita Gill wrote this novel is they're poems. So super quick read. It actually took me almost 2 weeks to read, and for me to read poems in 2 weeks is unheard of. Like, I read books by Ellen Hopkins in 2 days because they're very poem written and they're such good novels, and this was such an amazing, like, this is like a 10 out of 10. Like, if you guys have not read this book, pick it up, please, because like I said, everybody goes through different life changes, life choices, life adventures, for lack of a better words. And this book, like I said, made me cry because it hit home a lot. Like, I'm crying now thinking about it. Like, where I actually had to put it down and walk away, to the point where I actually had to pick up another book to read in between this one. Like a quick one, like not like a super big one. Like, I was reading comic books, which again, different book review. But long story short, if you are a woman or a man or whatever like that, and you feel more feminine on the feminine side, or just a woman with different adventures that you've gone through and life changes that you've gone through, pick this up. Like, the first thing on the back of the book says, what I watch girl become goddess, and the metamorphosis is more magnificent than I have ever known. That was literally my Facebook status for months because it hit home. Because like you're not who you are if you don't acknowledge your past. Your past makes you who you are today. It goes back into the whole argument of nature versus nurture. That whole psychological argument that, again, I have my own views. Because I was in the, like, there's like I have a whole past. I was medical field, I was a psychology major for 3 years. Now I'm a sales manager for a company, for an escape room, which feeds my psychology love a little bit, working for an escape room, but that's not here nor there. But like, this book, if you haven't picked it up, pick it up. Super quick read, like I said, and it touches on a lot of the lore, but then it has like different goddesses and gods, and it's like it introduces the god, like how they were born. I wonder under what, not how, we all know how people were born, under what circumstances they were born and what prophecies and legends they were born into. So you start off with that, and then it tells you a couple of like quick stories in regards to their life. So it's like the ones that are kind of like the major life events. I say that in quotes because obviously with every god, a goddess, or anything like that, there's like a plethora of stories that come with them. So she touches on a little bit, so it's like enough for you to understand who that god or goddess is, their life circumstances that they've gone through, and how that made them the better person. Also, too, what I really loved is like you have their birth, their past, and then she writes them in modern day. Like, there's a story about modern day. Like, the one that sticks out to me the most is Aphrodite and Ares, who obviously they both marry separate people, but they are madly in love with each other. Because yes, Aphrodite is the goddess of love, but you gotta understand she's also the goddess of war, to an extent. Like Athena, I think is the goddess of war. Like I'm not really good at Greek mythology, but I think that's how it is. I think Athena is the one who's the goddess of war. But Aphrodite has that war frame mind, where Ares is the god of war. I know that for a fact. And it's like they marry different people that they love. Like, don't get me wrong, like they do love them, but their hearts are always with one another. And she brings that into like the modern day times of like, you know, Aphrodite is a businesswoman and she runs a dating site or dating app or dating agency or something like that. It's how she makes her. And like she sees Ares at the end of that, and it's like, oh, and it sounds like there's a lot to it, to those pages. Like you're thinking like 20, 30, 40 pages. It's not. It's like 2 to 5. Like 10 per god or goddess, to be honest, and it's not that much of a read. It's just, like I said, it is a super fantastic read, but it was a mentally and emotionally hard read for me personally. But this one, man, like this one, pick it up. Like if you pick it up or give it to somebody who could be going through a rough time, or somebody who's like, you know, chicken soup for the teenage soul, this probably isn't a bad idea for it. But I would totally pick this up. Like, I actually want to read this via YouTube, but like I just, like, I will happily reread it on YouTube. Sorry, it was like work stuff. But I don't think I can emotionally get through it without sobbing my eyes out, and I like doing makeup and not having makeup halfway down my face. So I'm not gonna, just for the sole purpose of I don't want to cry, and record myself crying, and record like snot and mascara and eyeliner running down my face like a prom queen nightmare. Not gonna happen. But pick it up. It's super good. You can probably find it anywhere. I bought it. I don't even know how much I bought this for. Whatever it was well worth it. Get it. That's all I have to say to it. Get it, read it, love it. Just know that you might want to have to put this down for a little bit and read something else once you get through like at least the intro parts. And like also too, like there's pictures, and I like pictures, and especially like the way this drawing style is. Like, this is the picture of Athena, okay? Like, that's what she's done for Athena. It's very simplistic, very, you know, black and white, which is obviously, you think printed are cheap, but it's more, for me, it draws more meaning to the words. And like, you have a simple picture, very detailed, as you can see, but to an extent. Like, it's not like, you know, like a Raphael painting, or, you know, there's detail there, but the detail doesn't want to stray from the words. So like, okay, yeah, you look at the picture, nice pretty picture, okay, let's get back to those words. And it just kind of keeps you enthralled. I can't talk. But yeah, I would totally say read it. Just take time out of your day and just read it. Even if it's just a god a day, read it. And in the very beginning of the book doesn't really talk about gods or goddesses. It talks about different things, like a Titan sisterhood, like the beginning of everything. And, you know, it's worth it. That's it. That's all I have to say. Like I said, like parts of it, me reading this, like talking about it, like I tear up, and it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, definitely give this book a read. Again, it is Great Goddesses: Life Lessons from Myths and Monsters by Nikita Gill. And she's also the author of Fierce Fairy Tales, right down there. I have not read that yet. I would like to get that one day, but per my husband, who is so tired of moving our books, because I have over like 200 books. No more books until I read the ones I have. And get rid of some of them that I don't want. Like I said, I have a TBR pile, I think in a past video, that I'm reading just to get out of my door. But yeah, anyway, pick this up. You'll love it. I promise.